Beyond the first, redefining success through legacy and collective uplift. Good morning, everyone. I'm truly honored to stand before you today, sharing insights from my transformative conversation with Doreen Taupau, a visionary leader who's revolutionizing how we conceptualize success for Black women entrepreneurs and professionals. Doreen isn't just a thought leader, she's a force of nature, dismantling outdated paradigms and rebuilding them with compassion, wisdom, and strategic brilliance. Her work transcends traditional success metrics, creating ripples that will transform communities for generations to come. When I first sat down with Doreen, I expected our conversation to follow familiar entrepreneurial narratives. Instead, she offers something profoundly different, a complete reimagining of success that challenges everything we've been taught to believe about achievement, particularly for Black women in America. The story we've been told about success is fundamentally broken, Doreen told me, her voice carrying both conviction and compassion. We celebrate breaking glass ceilings without asking who's sweeping up the shards so others can walk through safely. We applaud individual achievement without examining whether those achievements create lasting change. This insight stopped me in my tracks. It crystallized something I felt but couldn't articulate, the profound limitation of celebrating firsts without building systems that create seconds, thirds, and hundreds. We've all heard these stories, haven't we? The first Black woman to break into a particular industry, the first to reach the C suite, the first to cross a certain threshold. These milestones matter, they absolutely do. But Doreen challenged me with a question that changed everything. What happens after you become the first? Who follows you? And what systems have you built to ensure they don't face the same barriers you did? This question reveals a profound misunderstanding about what true empowerment means. For too long, we've measured success by individual achievement alone, by the heights we personally reach, the barriers we individually break, the recognition we singularly receive. But Doreen's vision is revolutionary. True empowerment for Black women isn't just about breaking barriers for ourselves. It's about building systems of support and legacy so that others can thrive after us. It's not about withstanding the storm alone, but about becoming the storm that clears the way for future generations. Let me share three powerful stories that bring this principle to life. Consider Kathy Hughes, founder of Urban One, who built the largest African American broadcasting company in the world. Hughes didn't just achieve personal success, she transformed the entire landscape for Black voices in media. Her journey began in radio, often working overnight shifts, a single mother facing racial profiling and financial hardship. When she decided to buy her first station, banks denied her loans repeatedly. For 2 years, she and her young son lived in the station, sleeping on the floor, showering in the bathroom sink, sacrificing everything to keep her dream alive. What makes Hughes' story truly remarkable isn't just that she became the first Black woman to head a publicly traded media company, though that achievement deserves celebration. What's transformative is how she used her platform to amplify other Black voices, create jobs, and inspire countless entrepreneurs who followed her path. I didn't build this company just to prove I could do it, Hughes once said. I built it because our stories weren't being told, our voices weren't being heard, and our communities weren't being served. Today, Urban One reaches 80% of Black America, valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. But its true value isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in the voices it has amplified, the narratives it has transformed, and the pathways it has created for generations of Black media professionals. As Doreen emphasized, success isn't just about reaching the top of the mountain, it's about building an elevator for others to join you there. The second story comes from Detroit, where Ebony Cochran co founded the Detroit Wealth Club. Cochran, the first Black woman to own a Little Caesars franchise in Michigan, recognized that individual achievement wasn't enough to transform her community. Walking through Detroit, Cochran saw brilliant entrepreneurs with limited access to the knowledge, networks, and capital they needed to thrive. Rather than simply enjoying her own success, she and her partners launched a community driven business school focused on economic justice and wealth building. They invested personal funds, secured grants, and built a curriculum centered on credit literacy, entrepreneurship, and real estate. Today, their 300 square foot business school fosters mentorship and expert networks, helping close the racial wealth gap in Detroit. What's remarkable about Cochran's approach is that she didn't just overcome barriers, she dismantled them. She didn't just achieve success, she redefined it through community ownership and collective empowerment. When we shift from I made it to we're making it together, everything changes, Doreen noted. The metrics change, the methods change, the meaning changes. The third story unfolds in Atlanta, where a father daughter team created Concept House, a co working space specifically designed to support Black women entrepreneurs. Anthony G saw an unmet need in 2018. Black women starting businesses at record rates, but struggling to find affordable, supportive spaces. With his daughter Kai, G acquired and renovated underutilized properties, designing space for makers, creatives, and e commerce entrepreneurs. Today, Concept House hosts more than 30 Black female entrepreneurs, offering tailored resources and community support. One member described her experience: before finding Concept House, I was working from my kitchen table, isolated and overwhelmed. Here, I'm surrounded by women who understand my challenges, celebrate my wins, and help me navigate setbacks. My business has tripled in revenue, but more importantly, I've found my tribe. These three stories illuminate what Doreen calls the power of intentional legacy building. They show us that true success isn't measured by individual achievement alone, but by how many others can succeed because of the paths we've created. This brings me to three transformative insights from my conversation with Doreen that can revolutionize how we think about success, particularly for Black women professionals and entrepreneurs. First, we must redefine success as legacy and collective uplift. Your journey isn't just about personal wins, it's about creating opportunities for others and ensuring your impact outlasts your individual achievements. When Kathy Hughes built Urban One, she wasn't just building a company, she was creating a platform that would amplify Black voices for generations. That's the difference between achievement and legacy. Second, sisterhood and collaboration are superpowers. Building a supportive community and collaborating with others can fuel your dreams and make the impossible possible, especially in the face of systemic barriers. The Detroit Wealth Club demonstrates how collective resources, knowledge, and networks can create opportunities that no individual could create alone. Third, resilience means transforming defeat into purpose. Every challenge you face is not just a test of endurance, but an invitation to innovate, lead, and inspire others to rise after the storm. When Anthony and Kai G created Concept House, They weren't just responding to a market need, they were transforming an obstacle into an opportunity that benefits an entire community. This vision of success, rooted in legacy, community, and transformation, isn't just a nice idea. It's a practical, powerful approach that creates sustainable change in ways that individual achievement simply cannot. When we celebrate firsts without building systems that create seconds, thirds, and hundreds, we perpetuate the very exclusion we claim to be fighting. We end up with token representation rather than true transformation. We get isolated success stories rather than thriving communities. As Doreen so eloquently put it, the measure of your success isn't how high you climb, it's how many you bring with you. This perspective challenges us to ask different questions about our work and our impact. Instead of asking, how can I break through this barrier? We might ask, how can I dismantle this barrier altogether? Instead of asking, how can I achieve success despite the system? We might ask, how can I transform the system so that success is accessible to all? For Black women professionals and entrepreneurs, this means creating intentional communities of support, mentorship, and resource sharing. It means documenting our journeys and creating roadmaps for others to follow. It means investing in infrastructure, physical spaces like Concept House, educational platforms like the Detroit Wealth Club, and media channels like Urban One that amplify our collective voice and power. It also means redefining what success looks like on a personal level. Success isn't just about withstanding hardship, it's about transforming hardship into purpose. It's not about being strong enough to weather the storm alone, it's about becoming the storm that clears the way for others. I stand before you today, not just to share these insights, but to issue a challenge to fundamentally reimagine what success means in your own life and work. What if starting today, you measured your success not by what you personally achieve, but by what becomes possible for others because of your work? What if your legacy wasn't counted in dollars or titles, but in lives transformed, barriers dismantled, and pathways created? This isn't just a philosophical question, it's an urgent call to action. In a world fracturing along lines of race, class, and opportunity, we need a new vision of success that heals rather than divides, that builds rather than extracts, that transforms rather than perpetuates. So I ask you, how will you use your journey, not just your victories, but your storms, to create a legacy that empowers others to rise and thrive? What systems will you build? What barriers will you dismantle? What pathways will you create? The world doesn't need more lonely pioneers standing on pedestals of individual achievement. It needs bridges, elevators, and open doors. It needs success stories that don't end with "I made it," but continue with "and here's how you can make it too." This is our challenge. This is our opportunity. This is our responsibility. Let's redefine success together, not as a summit reached by few, but as a landscape transformed for many. Not as a ceiling broken once, but as a system reimagined forever. The measure of your success isn't how high you climb, it's how many you bring with you. How will you be measured? Thank you.